perfect thing to do on a
It
Monday
really
evening,
is.
isn't it?
It really is.
No one wants to stay home.
I know, exactly.
Would you like to start by reading something?
I would. I'm going to give you just a brief synopsis of this story. Crash Into Me is a story of Cecilia Chen, who is a Jamaican Chinese artist who was raised in the States, but has been living in Paris for 20 years with her husband and 2 kids. And her husband is a French filmmaker, and he books a job directing a trilogy in Hollywood, and so the family picks up and moves to the west side of Los Angeles into a very wealthy enclave after Cecilia spent 20 years living in France. So it's a bit of a reverse culture shock, if you will. And very early on in the story, Cecilia runs into someone from her past, literally in a car accident, and they develop this very intense and complex relationship that threatens to upend her entire life. And it's another woman. So here begins Crash Into Me. I'm going to read the first few pages, and
We'll go from there.
and then we'll do questions. Yes, or hold on. Chapter 1, Intersection. Los Angeles, February 2015. It is her neck that I see first, long and poetic, a whisper of beauty, unexpected at the side of the road on a midwinter's morning, a weekday at that. Winter is curious here, sunny and 60s and warm, rain on the rarest of occasions, and yet the people are all bundled and down. I'm not certain I'll get used to it, this non-weather weather, this identical dressing, this new life. But there she is, faintly ethnic, with her graceful neck, wearing a stylish trench which is decidedly not down, making her way to the street side of her shiny black electric vehicle. Much sleeker than mine. I assume she has no kids. No wrappers jammed in the door handle of the back seat. No cleats, no balls, no point shoes in the rear. Not with that neck. From across the intersection, I watch as she hitches the driver's door open. She's juggling a cup of coffee, an oversized handbag, a yoga mat. The light changes and I pull up parallel to her and catch her eye, through my sunglasses, through her impossibly large ones. Is she vacating the spot? She nods, the faint hint of a smile, and in that moment, I think I may know her. I hear the noise before I feel the impact. A keen screeching, a determinative crunch, and then what sounds like my mother's voice, yelling something not quite discernible in Jamaican patois. My SUV lurches once, and then a second time, careening sideways into the open car door, pinning it back against the wheel, an angle that seemed impossible a second before. There is glass shattering and metal twisting and coffee on my windshield. I hear the Jamaican expletives again. G's on peace! It takes a good moment before I realize the person yelling is me. At first, I don't see her. I imagine she's fallen, trapped, her neck crushed between her car door and my fender. I imagine the worst. But when I glance back through the rear vent glass, she is there, standing between our cars, by her back door, mouth agape, shaking, alive. She must have stepped aside at the last moment. I have not killed her. I have not killed her. My sunglasses are no longer on my face, and my handbag and all its contents are on the floor. My phone, which was resting in the cup holder, is not there, and yet the announcer on NPR drones on about Aleppo as if nothing has happened here on Montana Avenue, as if I just did not almost end a life, and then I realize the engine is still running. I turn off the car, unbuckle the seatbelt, and step out into the street. There's a gold sedan wedged into the rear left side of my new second-hand car. Francois and I had spent days picking it out the week following Christmas. Black Lexus hybrid, 17,000 miles. Good for carting kids to and fro. Roomy enough to hold my equipment. A woman is at the steering wheel of the sedan, late 30s, I think, from the little I can see of her face. A poof of thick black hair, sculpted eyebrows, dark glasses. Her hands are covering her mouth. The airbag on her passenger side has deployed. There are 2 harness booster seats in the back. Empty. She is lucky. Are you okay? I mouth. She nods, and then she begins to cry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't hear her, but I can feel her anguish, her guilt. It's okay. I say. It's okay. But even as I say it, I realize it might not be true. I make my way around the front of my car to see the damage I have done to the other vehicle. The door is mangled and off its hinges. My fender seems to be the object holding it in place. There is glass everywhere. Tiny fragments spilling like water from her window, leaving angry shards behind in their wake. The woman I might have killed is now standing on the sidewalk just in front of the cafe, trembling. She is clutching her yoga mat and handbag, but her coffee is covering her trench, her athletic top, her white Converse sneakers. Are you all right? She shakes her head. She is tall, 5'9", maybe, enviably thin, the kind of body I have always coveted. No hips, no boobs. Her skin is a cool cafe latte. Up close, she looks to be my age, barely discernible lines at the corners of her delicate mouth, a faint horizontal pear sweeping her forehead. Her dark hair is wet, a wavy bob. I cannot determine if she's just come from her yoga class or is on her way. Are you hurt? I ask. No, I'm not hurt. I just need a moment. Are you sure? I'm fine, she says, and I detect the hint of an accent. And then, moving closer to me, she gasps, You are bleeding. I feel it then, a dull throbbing, something moist on my forehead. I'd assumed it was perspiration, but it's dripping now, on my brow. My hand flies up and I reel at the wetness. My face. My voice is low, but not low enough, and I'm embarrassed that in the midst of the spectacle and wreckage and what could have been the loss of life, I am having a vain moment, and Swan Neck is witnessing it. Tip your head back, she says, reaching into her bag to pull out a tissue. I close my eyes as she mops my forehead, her fingers cool against my skin. A small crowd is beginning to assemble. I can hear them, mumbles, storefronts opening, an irritated driver blowing his horn. Sorry. The sedan SUV mashup is blocking traffic. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Somebody is saying, not her. A peek from beneath a napkin reveals a woman from the sedan. Big hair, olive skin, tears. She's bleeding? This is your car? Oh God, what have I done? I'm calling 911. Her voice is deep, her accent thick. Arab, I think, or maybe Persian. No one in LA is actually from LA. This is what Francois' agent told us when he was sweetening the deal, when he was convincing us to uproot everyone and everything, that Los Angeles was cosmopolitan, diverse, a world-class city with a robust art community and all shades of the rainbow represented. He did not mention that it was staggeringly spread out, that it was notably segregated, that if I stayed in my neighborhood, I could go entire days without seeing another person who looked like me. If I wanted to see all shades of the rainbow, I would have to get in my car, which was now mangled in the middle of the road. It's not your face, the woman covered in coffee says. She's fishing in her bag once again. This time she withdraws one of those microfiber yoga towels and positions it at the crown of my head, applying pressure. Somewhere north of my hairline. It hurts. The towel is damp. It smells like her, I imagine, like sandalwood and expensive leather. That's the good news, but this part of the head bleeds a lot. You might need stitches, and they should check you for a concussion. I don't feel concussed. Not that I'm certain I would recognize how concussed feels, but I'm not vomiting and the world is not spinning and I have some place to be. Furthermore, I find the American healthcare system daunting, and I'm not sure how our insurance works through production. I should call Francois. The sedan driver is on her phone reporting the accident. She is saying things like, a middle-aged woman is bleeding from the head, a description I find unnecessarily reductive. Although in truth, I don't know how she could have possibly done better. A petite, brown-skinned, mixed-race woman, possibly 40s, but doing a bloody good job of holding it together. At home, they would have called me Matisse. But here, there were so many ways to botch race, probably best to avoid it altogether. Also, at home, they would have been kinder about the age. Lie down, the Middle Eastern woman commands. It is then that I notice she is wearing flannel pajamas, those ubiquitous sheepskin boots, 3-carat diamond earrings, a West Side mom doing the morning drop-off, and then this. They say you should lie down. I balk at the idea. I feel fine, and the ground is dirty. Swan Neck reads something in my expression and then leans into me. I'm going to look at it, she says, before removing her massive sunglasses. It is then that I see her face fully for the first time, and it registers. For a moment, I cannot move. I stand there silent while she surveys the wound, a million thoughts flooding my head, images disjointed, faded, weathered, like black and whites from another era. The surf, the sand, goose flesh on her taut belly, her hair tickling the side of my face, her green eyes puffy the morning after. She does not recognize me. Or if she does, she's doing a very good job of not letting on. And maybe that is for the best.
I think our first question is, are you recording the audiobook?
I've already recorded the audiobook.
Of course you are. Wonderful. That was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much.
So this book is absolutely luxurious. It's luscious. How many people in the room have read Crash Into Me? No one yet. Okay, a couple. We have a couple. We will give nothing away, I promise. So Cecilia is a photographer.
Yes.
And I love her, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I love this book.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What I found to be so fun about your writing is we're taking this journey with Cecilia. Mm-hmm. She's a photographer and she's an artist. Mm-hmm. And she's doing an art project about beauty.
Yes.
And everything you describe is so sweeping and like sharp, crisp lines, beautiful, soft curves. Like everything you describe feels luscious. Like you just want to sink into it. And it's really elegant.
Oh, thank you.
Was that on purpose? Is that just how you write?
It's thank you. It's a little bit how I write, and also I'm very conscious that I was very conscious that I was writing for a photographer. Mm-hmm. I have a few friends a couple of good friends who are photographers, and I know how they see the world. I have a friend, one in particular, who is extraordinary, and she can like come into a room and redecorate it, and she can decorate flowers, she can set a table. Everything she does is like with intention and beautiful. Like she just has an eye for things. And so I was kind of writing it the way I know photographers think, and seeing the world the way I believe photographers see the world. So yes, that was intentional.
Well, it's really well done.
Oh, thank you.
So beautiful. And I kept having to stop and reread a sentence like, wow, okay. And then as we get to know what her art project, it's not an art project. It's
It's
next.
an installation. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a project she's working on, but it becomes an installation. And so it's a combination of actual photographs and like a slideshow in a dark, like almost like a black box with huge screens where various images are playing a portrait she's done of women, and over the images there are recordings of women talking about beauty and their ideas of it and how we think of it, how we consume it, how we feel it consumes us, what it is to get older and lose it. Do we lose it? Who determines when it's lost? And so it was really interesting to have that as a thread going throughout the entire story.
And it works so well. We've got this relationship. So the book it's about race, it's about beauty, it's about ageism, sexism, racism, and you bring all of these elements together so perfectly. I want to know, where did you get the idea to write this story?
Oh, goodness. So prior to writing The Idea of You, I'd worked on a novel for about 6 years, and it was Cecilia's story. When I originally was working on it, it was semi-autobiographical, and it takes place in the 90s, and she's in her 20s. She has a relationship with a younger guy, slightly younger, which is a theme in my books. I don't know where that comes from. But not 20 years younger, since she is 25. But I was working on it for a long time, but I could never quite get it to where I wanted it to be. And so I put it aside, and I didn't write for about 2 years. And then when I got the idea for The Idea of You, I thought it was important and it would be fun to do, and relevant and to what was going on in the world then, but I wanted to get it out as quickly as possible. So I was writing really, really fast because I didn't want to spend 6 years working on something that I couldn't sell or whatever. And so I worked on that. And what I'd done is, in the idea view, the protagonist, Selene, has an art gallery, and she and her partner, Lilit, only represent female artists and artists of color. Mm-hmm. And so I populated her gallery with either fictional artists or friends of mine who were artists who fell under one of those categories and who allowed me to use their likenesses and their works in the book. But I had a scene that was coming up with with Selene and her partner and another fictional artist. And I was kind of like racking my brain, like, what do I want to create someone new? But I didn't want to give it to a real person because I'd like the freedom to write for them, and when it's someone real, it's a little,
sure,
you're a little more restricted. So I figured I kind of got lazy and thought about it. I was like, I'd written that other book, and Cecilia was a photographer. Why didn't I just throw her in this scene? Oh, wow. And so I put her in the idea view, and I kind of gave her a scene, and it was not that big a scene for her. It was a momentous turning point for Selene in realizing how her relationship with her boyfriend Hayes was affecting her work or her perception of her work. But it was really a small throwaway role. But when I was coming back to write after the idea view, I had about 3 years of writer's block. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to write. And then finally I thought, why don't I go back to Cecilia and look at that story again? And then I thought, well, I put her in the idea view, and it's current day. At that point it was current day, which is 2015, 16 area time. And I thought, what if I picked up from where we saw her in the idea view and just follow her story? And like, now she's in her 40s and she's just moved to LA with her French husband and kids, and she was looking for an art dealer. And what if I just pick up there and see where it goes? And then in 2016, I just dropped my kids off at school on a perfect, Tuesday, Monday maybe. And I was going to meet my husband at the local coffee shop, and then I was heading on to the Valley to record voiceover work for 50 Shades Freed, because I'm in the 50 Shades, those are the last two movies. And I was in a car accident that was very similar to the one in this book. I was not injured. No one was physically injured, but our cars were completely wrecked. And I was pulling up to park in this parallel park into this woman's spot who was vacating her spot, and another woman rammed me from behind, and my car went flying into the other woman's car. And she stepped out just at the right last minute, and I don't know how she did, but my front bumper took off her door and pinned it back against the wheel of her car. And there was glass everywhere. It was terrifying. And afterwards, we were all sitting out. The three of us were sitting in front of the coffee shop, hugging each other and comforting each other, and you're okay, we're all fine.
Total strangers. Yeah.
Total strangers. And the woman who'd hit me, her husband had come to the scene, and he was looking at us and he started to laugh. And we were like, what's so funny? And he said, women are so different than men.
Yeah. So true.
3 men in an accident, we'd be, assigning blame, we'd be yelling at each other, we'd be cursing. You guys are hugging, you're like best friends suddenly. And I thought, no, he's right. But this is a great scene for a book.
Wow.
This is an interesting, the way that these lives can come together completely randomly and violently. And we don't know what's going to come from them, the relationships that are going to come out of this. And I think I want to put this in a book. And so I went home that day and just kind of wrote just a quick note, my car accident on Montana, and I'd labeled it the file intersection. I thought, it took place in an intersection, and it was an intersection of lives. And it wasn't until 2019 when I got the idea to use Cecilia in the current day that I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll put her in the car accident.
Brilliant.
So there.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
There's a point in the book where Cecilia's looking at her old journals, and she's wanted to write.
Yes.
And she lists titles of books.
Yes.
And one of them happens to be Crash Into Me.
Yes.
And I was like, oh.
No, that was titles of songs.
Oh, was it songs?
So I think it's, at that point she's looking at photographs, images that she and her husband have taken, and that they've kind of labeled, notes on the back. And one of them was called Crash Into Me, which is how. So what I've done, and for those of you who read this book 17 times, you'll probably catch it, but you might not if you only read it once, is that every chapter title is a name of a piece of work that either she or her husband, Francois, has made.
Right.
And so that's where I got
very
that from.
clever.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I love little Easter eggs.
Yeah,
like that, right?
yes. I saw a meme while I was writing. It says something like, here's how the writing is going. Like, I've got 40 great, catchy chapter. I've got a beginning and end and 40 great chapter names, but no middle. And I was like, I feel very seen right now.
But you stuck with it, and it worked.
I did. Thank you.
So this idea that Anouk, this character who becomes one of her subjects and was from her past, which is so brilliant and woven in so well. She's absolutely stunning. She's Swan Neck.
Yes.
If you hadn't already guessed.
Yes, she's Swan Neck.
And she's talking about that kind of beauty is really a commodity. And so your book is really tackling these issues about how we seek and we desire this beauty,
right,
and we consume it. So we consume ourselves trying to attain beauty,
right,
and then others want to consume the beautiful.
Yes.
And it's all so fleeting.
Yep.
And so ugly.
Yeah. Absolutely. All of that. I spent 5 years thinking about that and reading about that and living that to a degree and watching my friends go through it. You know, I'm Gen X and we're all kind of perimenopausal now, sorry. And watching our thoughts about who we are shift. Yeah. You know, as we like physically change slightly. And it becomes how the world views us and therefore how we start to view ourselves through the eyes of those looking at us and consuming us in that way. And I thought it was really interesting and fascinating, particularly the women who were once really held up as beautiful and what happens as that shifts. Yeah. And who do you become? Like, is that still a part of who you are? Will it always be a part of who you are? And if not, where do you find your value?
Exactly, your worth.
Yeah.
Like, when you're so used to walking into a room your whole life and everyone turns and comments about how beautiful you are.
Absolutely.
And then suddenly that starts to not
fade,
happen quite as often.
Yeah.
Until the point where it's not happening. And then what is left of you?
Exactly. I know, it's deep. But
you also...
But there are people who say, that I never happened to me anyway, so I'm not missing anything. But it's still, like, I do know that you get that thing when you're walking down the street and you catch a reflection, you're like, oh my God, that's my mom.
Who is
and
that?
It's like, I see the bags under my eyes, like in profile, and it's not even. I was like, oh my God, when did that happen? But it's like it's the only other option is to die, right? So
well, and that's exactly what she says in the book.
Yes.
The only other option is to die. And I loved that there was a point where. So we're going back to 1996. So the book takes place in 2015 and 1996.
Yes.
And Cecilia is an assistant at this point.
Right. So 1996, there's a week in January of 1996 where she is an assistant to a well-renowned fashion photographer, and they're doing a big photo shoot in Cabo San Lucas, which is where she first meets Anouk. So the story takes place between these two different timelines, the week in 1996 and then in Los Angeles between 2015 and 2017.
Why did you decide to make the present day first person? Cecilia is telling her story. But when we go into the past, it's third person. It's omniscient.
Yes. A couple of things I wanted to separate it for the reader. So, I mean, it's subtle. Not everyone notices that right away. But I wanted it to be easy for the reader to know that they're in a different place. But also, this story starts with an accident and Cecilia having a concussion. And so her memory is not entirely to be relied upon in the present day. Yeah. And so I wanted the flashbacks to be kind of like the definitive what happened.
This actually happened.
Yeah.
We're telling you because we know.
Yeah, we know.
So there's a model from there, and then this model appears later.
Right.
And Cecilia's like, you look amazing. And she's like, I want to make sure that there's no editing. I want my wrinkles to show.
Right. Yes, yeah.
And I thought that was so
she's an actress, and she's like,
beautiful.
She's very concerned. Yeah, because, I mean, so I spent I've been an actor for 30 years and spent about 20 years living in LA and working in film and television. And, you know, you do it for so long, you make friends and you see how other actors and actresses deal with their image and their brand and like accepting it, what it means to change, what it is. It's one thing to get older, like just all of us here in this room, but it's another thing to get older with the world watching.
Totally.
And also feeling like a commodity. Like I had an experience at a Delta airline lounge. I think it was like 2017. I think I was shooting in Atlanta and I was in their Delta and a woman came up to me who worked in the lounge. She said, "Oh, you're aging so gracefully." And I thought, thanks. I don't know. But it was such a weird thing. I put that line in the book. It's such a weird thing to say that people feel like they, that you're a public figure and they can comment on you.
Right.
It's one thing to comment on your work, but they can also comment on your physicality. Mm-hmm. And they've been watching your physicality over 25 years. And so they knew what I looked like in my early 20s and they knew what I looked like then. And it was kind of like, oh, you know, you're holding it together a little bit. Like, and then it's like, how much do you let yourself go? Or what is letting yourself go? Like you want to stay healthy, you want to look healthy, but I also don't want to go too far over that I don't look like myself or like the women in my family, like, you know, my mom and my aunts and my cousins, like they're holding themselves together and it's naturally at this point.
Right.
But it's, I'd read an article with Amanda Peet a few months ago. I think it was in the New Yorker, and she was writing about losing her mom and her dad almost at the same time. And in between, you know, dealing with two different cancers with two different parents on separate coasts, she was also dealing with her image and whether or not she should get a facelift. Like she was thinking, do I want to do this? Is it time?
Right.
Like, and it was like, you know, the things that go through your head. Like,
I've always said to myself, oh, I will never get any work done. That would never happen. I'm going to age gracefully.
Yeah, I said that in college too.
And then I'm like, actually, you know, until you're in that moment.
Right.
I don't judge. I think beauty is a very relative thing.
It is.
And if it makes you feel
beautiful. If it makes you feel beautiful.
Absolutely. Then more power to you.
Yeah.
And I absolutely don't judge. I want to talk about Cecilia, and you'd mentioned earlier that there was a little bit of autobiographical. And, you know, much of Cecilia feels like she's based on you. She's part Chinese, she's from Jamaica. Yep. Tell us how much of this is based on
the story itself is not me. I did want to have a Jamaican Chinese protagonist because I grew up. We have a decent sized Chinese population in Jamaica, but I grew up not seeing that in literature, at least American literature. And I was born and raised in the States. I grew up in New York, and not seeing that, like, and you know, it's a kind of thing like how representation matters. Like, you know,
totally.
I had like my favorite authors like Judy Blume and when I was younger or whatever, or even V.C. Andrews, things like that. And I love those stories, and you kind of put yourselves in the character's shoes as much as you can, but they're still
they still don't look like you.
They still don't look like you. Yeah. And so I still, to this day, I don't love seeing faces on covers because I want to be able to kind of lose myself in it as much as I can and have that, like, I don't know, a little bit of cognitive dissonance, like, yeah, that's me. And then, but so I wanted to see that. And because I don't, even the stories I'd read by either African-American authors or other African authors in the diaspora or in England, UK or whatever, or even Jamaican British authors, I wasn't seeing this very specific type of Jamaican Chinese mix and like middle class, upper middle class. Like I wasn't seeing that. And I thought I just wanted to have that story out there.
Well, and I felt like, you know, Cecilia's dealing with being the only one in the room over and over and over again. And here she's coming to Los Angeles and it's this melting pot, but it really isn't. It's so segregated.
It's not a melting pot at all, no. And I was coming from, when I moved to LA, I was moving from the Upper West Side of Manhattan, which is much more integrated and diverse. And we moved from there to Brentwood, and it was like, I mean, I'd go entire days and not see someone else who looks like me.
Yeah.
And it was jarring. And I'm used to being the only one that looks like me very often in situations in my life, like from college on. Like I was lucky, I grew up in a very integrated community in Westchester. Our school district started busing in 1962. And so by the time I got there, it was really, really well integrated. And so I've always had friends of all different groups. But then, I got to college and not everyone had that. Most people had not had that experience. And they were kind of shocked that I was so comfortable in all these different circles, and that I had Black friends, white friends, Jewish friends, Asian friends, it was like seamless moving throughout. But I like moving throughout when it also feels like and it feels diverse. I don't feel like I'm the only one here now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to also capture that feeling, and I thought if I was like, I know how we lived in LA and I know the environment that we lived in, but I thought, what if I was moving from France and I was just kind of thrown into this? What would, after 20 years of living in Europe, in a very cosmopolitan city, because Paris is it's fairly well integrated, depending on where you are, but most areas you will see all different types of people. And also because we have public transportation that is frequently used in France, unlike in LA. And so every time you get on the metro, you see the entire rainbow. Or in New York, like any city that has a big city with a good subway system. But
and that's exactly what it is.
Yes,
isn't it?
in LA, you're in your car, and you're it can be very isolating, and you don't really brush up against other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I appreciate it so much that you went into that and shared that experience with the readers. I think it's so important.
Thank you.
And at the same time, like, we're talking about beauty, right?
Yep.
So, and the way that you describe, like, the reverse culture shock, like going from Paris to Los Angeles, and how in Paris, like, everything is done with intention.
Right.
Like beauty and art. Like, it's not just function.
No, everything is, I mean, even the way they, like, display eggs on the shelves, like they're in cartons that are colored and, like, just beautifully arranged, like everything. Tokyo is like that. Japan is like that as well. It's like there's just so much attention to detail and presentation and the art of even the art of the imperfect. There's something to be said about that, and it's not just nothing's like haphazardly done. It's like it's really, and once you notice that and you're paying attention,
right.
You'll see it everywhere in those places, and then you also see the lack of it in other places.
Right. I want to talk about Anouk.
Okay,
she's so fantastic.
I love her.
I love her so much. I mean, I wanted to say, who's your favorite character, but like,
for me,
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
can you have a favorite?
No, I mean, even if the idea of you, I didn't. Well, maybe I did a little bit. Yeah, it was Hayes. But with this one, no, I don't know if I had a favorite. Like,
well, I love them equally, but Anouk is especially delicious.
Yeah, she's delicious. She's like, oh goodness, I don't know what she is. She's like my fantasy of what the French woman was before I'd moved to France, and so I was like, how are they so sexy and together, and how are they so confident, and I've kind of figured out a little bit that, so it's some of the mystery is gone, but it's also, but I mean they've still got that allure, but I just get it. It's just their upbringing. They're the French they're not a puritanical country like we are, for one, and so they're very comfortable with themselves, their bodies. Their faces, their like
nudity,
being in their skin. You know what I mean? Like a nudity is, you see it in in magazines, in billboards, whatever. It's not shamed upon. You see it at the beach. You're like, it's not like it is here, where we're kind of like, oh, cover everything up. They feel about. I mean, I should say that they feel whatever. They look at our violence in our film and television like, what are you guys doing? The way we look at their nudity, like, oh my gosh, you're having sex, and they're like, this is natural. What are you doing with your guns? Like,
exactly.
But I've discovered now, living in France, like it's totally innate. Like, you go to the doctor. Here, I've been telling this story. You go to the doctor. If you have a doctor's appointment here, let's say you're going to the OB/GYN, and it's like you sit there at the doctor first, and you do your intake, and he or she will ask you questions about yourself, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to leave the room. There's you'll put on the robe, just take everything off, whatever, and I'll knock, and you let me know when it's okay to come back in. Here, The bed is right there, the desk is here, and they're like, okay, you can just go on the table and just take off, whatever your bra, and you're kind of like,
really?
You're not going to step out? And they're looking at you like, why am I going to step out? I'm going to step right back in and see everything.
Anyway, yeah.
So you're like, really okay. And maybe they'll turn their head, but it's not like, it's not like in America where we're so like, okay. Like, I mean, my doctor here, who I absolutely adore, she, like, it's not even a robe anymore. It's like this 2 pieces of paper. Like, one piece goes over your boob, and the other piece is like you just kind of wrap it like a skirt, and it's a little too small, and you're sitting there talking to her, like, and I look, she's like, so Robin, tell me about the kids, and I'm like, well, Suzanne, like, in France, it's like it's just not done. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. I don't know. I got off on a tangent. So I wanted a confident, self-possessed woman, and I also had this when I was early on in the research. So I read a lot of books on models and modeling, et cetera, but I also knew a lot about it. I had a cousin who was a very big model in the late 80s and early 90s, and I kind of gained entree to that world through her. I had an internship working at Elle magazine while I was in college and in New York, and then also my junior year I spent abroad in Paris, and I worked for their French office, and I went to all the shows, and it was during the heyday of like Linda and Christy and Naomi and Cindy, and so I knew that world. But when I was researching, I came across this a video clip on Instagram of Kate Moss taken in the Hamptons in the 90s, early 90s, and so she's quite young. She might be 19 years old, and she's kind of like just playing with whoever's shooting it. I thought it was like a hair or makeup stylist who posted it, and she's so self-possessed and coy and sexy and silly and young girl and woman and everything.
All wrapped in. Yeah.
All wrapped up like in a 15-second clip. She just goes from, and she's almost like feral. Like there's something wild about her, but also soft and like, and I thought whatever it is that she has, I want to capture that and give it to Anouk.
Oh, you did.
Oh, thank you.
All of that. All of that.
Thank
yeah, 100%. You describe her at one point as a sultry narcissist.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that's a really good phrase.
Yeah.
We don't love narcissists. There's someone in the room here who wrote a book about narcissists, actually. So.
Oh, really?
She knows a little bit about it.
Nonfiction or fiction?
Nonfiction, actually.
Ah, okay.
You should have brought it. You can hold it.
Everything you want to know about narcissism. Which is too much.
Yeah,
there's so much of it everywhere, but to describe it as sultry, because we really do love narcissists, don't we?
Yeah.
Because they're sexy and they're confident.
There's something, we're a little drawn to them, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm. And in this case, it's a little better, and a little worse.
You'll have to see.
You'll have to find out where it goes.
You'll have to see, yeah.
There's a lot of better.
Yes, for sure.
So the relationship between these women is so seductive. And again, if I were to describe this book with one word, I think it would be luscious.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? It's like, it's delicious. Like you just
thank you.
are excited to get into the next chapter. And I love how we're weaving back and forth. Mm-hmm. So the past plays a huge role on the present.
Right.
Did you write it in the order that we read it?
So I had an idea of what was going to happen in the past, but then I kept changing things. And I would change things in the present that made me go back and change it in the past because I was trying to match up who these people were. So I'm trying to write for the current day, which would be like a 38-year-old and a 45-year-old woman, and then I'm also writing for a 19-year-old and a 26-year-old girl. Right. And they have to be believable as the same people and growing.
You did such a good job. I was like, oh my God, she feels young.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, good job.
Thank you. But then in the end, I couldn't keep going back and forth. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to knock out all the 1996 stuff in one sitting. Like not one sitting, but it was over
fluidly,
over like 3 weeks of summer of 2023. I was up in New England, and I was just like, I'm just writing this, and that way I know the trajectory of these stories, these characters, whatever, and then I can go back and fill in all the other stuff later, because I was going back and forth, and it's tricky,
making you mad. Yeah
And I write in, I don't know if there are other writers here, but I write in Microsoft Word because I'm very old and stuck in my ways. I don't use Scrivener, which a lot of writers use. And with Scrivener, it's this incredible I know it's incredible because I've done the tutorial at least 3 times and I still I still don't do it. But it's like it's this like what do you call it? App, software, whatever. And so you can have Post-its and write your outline and then go into the Post-it and write the chapter, and then you can switch around the Post-its, and so you're switching the places of this chapter. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a really cool program.
yes, but I do Microsoft Word, so it's like page 1. Like it may as well be like on my typewriter, my whiteout.
But when you have a rhythm, and that's
Yeah.
how you write. That's how you
I
write.
write.
You can't change that.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about your writing style and your writing habits?
I'm like the girl with a little curl in the middle of her forehead. When I'm good, I'm very, very good. And when I'm bad, I'm hard. When I'm really in the flow, like with the idea of you, I was obsessive. I wrote around the clock. Every little break I got, I took my laptop with me everywhere. I would write in doctor's office, like waiting rooms. I would write on the sidelines while my son was at water polo practice or my daughter was doing gymnastics. Like I was writing all the time. With this, it was spread out over more time. I didn't write as intensely like that. But in the end, I kind of put a timer on myself. I was like, okay, you've got to have this done by a certain period or it's just never going to be. You can just keep going. And writers will just tinker.
Totally.
So I gave myself a deadline and then said, just do it. And then I was really good. I don't know if you've read or you're familiar with Stephen King's On Writing.
On Writing, excellent.
And he talks about, the first draft you do with the doors closed, meaning you are in your office, doors closed. He says phones unplugged, because he wrote this before cell phones. You don't ask for anyone's feedback while you're doing it. It's just like you're just in the zone, and you give yourself 3 to 4 hours a day, and you say, this is how many words I'm going to get in, and you go to the same spot every day at the same time, and eventually your brain will know, now's the time I'm supposed to show up.
Yeah.
So even if at the first few times it doesn't, eventually it'll be like, oh, it's 9 a.m. and you're sitting in this desk and you're drinking this tea. I'm supposed to be writing now, aren't I? Like, I'm supposed to be creating, and it'll figure it out. So I did that for a while, and it really works.
Yeah.
Yes. But generally, I like to write in cafes. I typically do not get the Wi-Fi when I'm in a cafe, so I'm just writing.
No bleeps.
I'm not looking at Instagram or Facebook. I'm just in the zone. If I have to research something, I can look at my phone if I need to, but I'm not going to just go down a rabbit hole of tweets or threads or whatever. And then I don't, what was I going to say? I can't remember what I was going to say. Something about...
You're in a coffee shop.
I'm in a coffee shop.
Do you have tea or coffee?
It depends. I go back and forth. I don't get distracted as easily in France because they're speaking French in the background, and I can turn that. It becomes white noise. I can turn it out, turn it off, tune it out, or turn it off. In LA, it was much harder because, especially on the west side of LA, it's a small community, and I'm around people that if I don't know them, they're talking about other people I know, or they're talking about the business. And so all of that it feels very personal, and I want to know what's going on. Like, what project is he doing? Should I tell my person, like I have an audition, whatever. Oh, I know what I was going to say. When I'm in a cafe, I can't take a nap. That's another so I like to go to cafes because I don't think I've ever put my computer down. Like, let me just take a nap and get up later. But I will definitely do that at home.
I'm sure I've seen people napping at Starbucks.
Yes.
Do you always like to sit at the same table, or can it be any cafe?
It doesn't have to be the same table, but it's not just any cafe. Like in where I live now in Paris, there are a couple of cafes that I go to all the time that I really love because I can't write outside. The weather is too distracting for me. Like a breeze comes by, it's too hot, it's too cold, there's a bug, or people walking by in conversations. And so I have to be inside, and it has to be pretty on the inside. Like it has to have nice lighting and
good aesthetics. I mean, you're writing about aesthetics.
There you
might
go.
as well be surrounded by aesthetics.
So I've got a few of my favorite cafes in Paris. Yeah.
How long did it take to write?
This one was about 5 years of writing and a year and a half of editing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
having this
you.
conversation with
Thank
me.
you so
I'm
much.
honored to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
A wonderful book.
Can we do questions from the audience?
Let's do it.
Questions? Anyone? Bueller?
You must have questions.
No one has a question?
Oh, I was like, come
Okay.
on.
Okay.
Yes.
I hear you talking about Paris. I'm going to Paris and Normandy in the Chateau country
Oh,
in
nice.
about 3 weeks.
Oh, wonderful.
And a lot of people are moving overseas from the United States because it's too expensive to retire here, not just in California,
Yep.
but in the United States in general.
Mm.
Is that what made you go to Paris, or you were just ready to get out of LA?
It was a bunch of different things. I've always been a Francophile. I've been obsessed with everything French since I was quite young. My aunt, my mom's brother's wife, was French Canadian, and so we spent a lot of time in Montreal visiting them when I was younger. My cousins spoke French, and I thought it was like this magical, like secret language they had, and I wanted I wanted to know what that was. And so I started studying it when I was 12 in school, and maybe studied for 8 years before I even got to Paris. And my junior year abroad was the most magical year, and I told myself one day I'd move back. And so it was just timing, like it was never perfect timing. And then during COVID, a bunch of things happened, but the first thing that happened is that all my auditions went online. And I figured, if I can book movies or TV shows from my living room,
I don't have to be here.
my living room can be anywhere.
Yeah.
And then there was just a lot of things happening politically, and we were ready to go. And also the kind of visa that we got, I could get in with this specific visa, and I could get my husband and my kids in, assuming the oldest kid had not turned 18 yet, and our son was like 15. So we're like, okay, now's the time. Let's just do it, because it's never going to be perfect. And also with COVID, it was that realization that tomorrow's not promised. Like, people were dying, and I thought, I don't want to die in LA, not having. I don't want to die in LA, but I don't want to die not ever having lived out that fantasy that I'm going to go and live in Paris and write books and cafes and be James Baldwin or Ernest Hemingway. And so I did it.
Because that was the other thing.
Yeah.
James Baldwin died in the south of France.
Yes, he did.
And W.E.B. Du Bois died in Ghana.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I
Yeah.
believe somebody can look that up.
You had a question?
Claire.
Yeah.
Hi. She's come to visit me in Paris.
Yay.
I have September, don't worry. Yeah,
Yes, and even another- yeah.
plan. But when you're talking about the aging and the models and stuff, do you follow Paulina's
I do.
Instagram?
Oh, she's wonderful.
Like, her hashtag is so amazing. Like, what is it, between
J-Lo and Betty White. Yeah.
And she's talking about it so much, and people are like, well, you're just beautiful and you're that.
Right,
She's
right.
like, but what you touched on is like, but it's harder because everybody's watching.
Right. Everyone's watching you, and that's all they associate you with. Yeah.
And so her stuff she's so insightful for that. So I thought that
Yeah.
you think of that in there.
Yeah, and she's having this.
She just got married.
She just got married last weekend. Like, she's having this like rebirth, like finding herself and growing out her gray hair, and this just like
And of course,
acceptance.
She looks amazing.
Right, but like,
Yeah,
but it's also,
exactly.
she's very open about, this is what I look at without makeup and bad lighting and not
it's
good
really
posture, and then this is when I pose and check the light, like, and it
Yeah.
looks like a completely different person, and it's like
Totally.
she's like trying to teach self-acceptance, I think, and it's great.
It seems so on point with this too. So
Yeah.
Indeed. Any other? Yes.
Hi, Candy. It's my cousin.
Oh, wait. Is Candy Jane?
With
What's
your
that?
first book, I know you had a significant book hangover
Yes.
with regard to the characters.
Yes.
Are you experiencing that with this book, or?
No, I think with the idea of you, it was so intense. I lived with those characters in my head for a good 18 months, and I felt like I was living, breathing them. I was thinking for them. I was talking to them. They were talking to me constantly. And then when it ended, I was devastated, partially because I knew I was no longer going to be engaging with them, and partially because of how the story ends. I was feeling distraught about some of that without giving too much away. And I just loved it. I love them. I love that story. I love their world so much. And I put so much of myself into that story that it was really hard to let it go and be like, and separate from them, like lose them and let them go off into the ether. with this book, it took much longer to write. And so I was going in, they were not consuming me the entire time. I also had like a international move during that period. Like I had a lot going on in my life while I was writing this, so I had space for lots of different things, and I could bring them in when I needed to bring them in and have them talk to me when I needed to, and then I could also put them aside. I also feel like with The Idea of You, so they'd made a film of the story. They did an adaptation, and there was a lot of departure from the actual storyline, and that was difficult for me. And so I made a promise to myself that I would not become so closely attached to my characters that if someone were to adapt them and take them in a completely different direction, I could have my peace with that, you know what I mean? So I feel like I specifically kind of kept them at arm length. So I was like,
interesting.
I love you guys, I'm gonna cry over you a little bit, but I'm not going to cry every night for 2 years, which is I may have done.
Wow.
Yes.
I kind of had a two-part question, and you kind of touched on it just now, mentioning the end of The Idea of You, and the movie adaptation. What was your thought about the sort of post-credit scene at the end of the movie? And then can we expect the same type of oh my gosh ending from the end of Idea of You in Crashing to Me? Or is it more, I don't want to say like happily ever after.
It's such a different story. It's a different story. I can't give anything away.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a tough one.
But I feel like I do feel like but I do feel like with the film, I mean I knew that I kind of knew it was going to happen because I read an earlier version of the script, and I knew they were going to sell out and do the rom-com thing because
they were going to do the happily ever after.
They feel like that's what American women want. That's what we've been fed.
That's what we've been told.
That's what we've been told we want. So that we've been programmed to think that like if it doesn't have that, then it's not going to be acceptable. Whereas I think you can have a really incredible love story that doesn't necessarily end happy, but that you can grow from and that you would not trade for anything else in the world.
Absolutely. I loved the ending of it. I absolutely loved the ending.
Thank you.
Yes.
You've had, first of all, congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
Looking forward to reading it.
Thank you so much.
Vacation in a couple of weeks, and I'm gonna dig
enjoy.
into it. Mightn't see my family, so they mightn't be as grateful as I am. But you've had all these careers before you wrote a book, and what was it like to be a first? Did you always know you want to be an author? What was it like to be a first-time author? And when you wrote your first book, did you then have a strong sense of you were going to write a second one, and that this is it for you?
So I've always written for myself, for pleasure. I started writing short stories in third grade. I kept a journal very religiously between the ages of 8 and 28, like almost not missing a day. I just wrote and wrote and wrote. I wrote my first book when I was 14 years old, and it was 884 pages, handwritten pages. And then when I was 16, I started my second book, and I worked on that for about 4 years, and that was 1,200 pages. And I put that down at some point. These are all at home in Paris in a box in the closet in my office. And then I started another book when I was in law school. And then I worked on this book with Cecilia and Lori and for several years. And so by the time I wrote The Idea of You, it was like my sixth book. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth book maybe?
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe this is your debut. But I've written a lot. And I think most writers, the first book you see is not necessarily the first book they've written.
Absolutely.
Or if it is, it has been workshopped and reworked and reworked and reworked. It looks nothing like it did when they first started it.
There's a lot of writers in this room. So
Yeah.
do you have some advice for aspiring writers and, inspiration?
I feel like just keep writing. I know that seems like writing is like 90% rewriting, as I will tell you. Write what you love, because it's going, I think, the more passionate you are about your subject matter, the more enjoyable the process will be, and the more enjoyable that is, the more you will look forward to sitting down at your computer every day and churning something out. Gilda Radner said. I have these two quotes over my desk. The wall over my office right now is like nothing on it, but these two quotes. One of them is a Gilda Radner quote that says, "You cannot create and judge in the same moment." So do not. I was doing that a lot after my bout with writer's block, after writing The Idea of You. Like everything I wrote, I was judging. It's like, this is bad, this sucks. Like cross it out, forget it, start over. You can't do that. You just have to write and just get it out on the page, and then you can edit later. But if you are critiquing yourself as it's coming out of you, it's not going to come out of you. It's going to be too many stops and starts. The other quote is a Stephen King quote on writing, and it says, "You must not come lightly to the blank page." So I feel like I'm always raising the stakes. I'm always like, I don't want it to be like a casual, like, oh, and then I met this boy, and I liked him, and he liked me, and we ran off and sunset. Like, it needs to be like, oh my God, what happened? Like, what are you doing? And like, everything has to feel that way. Like, because why else write it? You know what I mean? Like, why? I don't know. I feel like if you don't come with like all guns blaring, is that it?
Yeah, blazing. Guns
then
blazing.
It's like, then it's kind of like, that was nice and I believed it, but it's not special. And I want my books to feel, I want my readers to remember it long after they finish it, and after they complete reading it. I want them to want to revisit. I want them to think, what did I miss? Like, I have to go back. I want them to then listen to the audiobook. I want them to go back. Like, I want them to have a relationship with it and discover new things in the story each time. And the only way I can do that is by raising the stakes and layering in as much as I can that's meaningful and that's meaty, that's lush and interesting to read, but that's also, there's something else there. Like for me, I read because I want to be entertained and I want to learn something. And ideally, I'm getting both out of the same story.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
So, hi.
Hi.
My name's Karen.
Hi,
My
Karen.
daughter lives in Paris in
Oh.
11. She's been there since 2021, I think.
What's her name?
Her name's Jillian, and she's a copywriter for Deezer, the
I don't know her. Okay.
music service.
Right.
She's an avid reader. She loves you as an author. But more importantly, I am sitting next to a woman that went to school with you.
You did?
Sandy.
Oh my gosh, yes. Hello.
My friend Sandy, who went to
Oh my
school with you in New York. And
Woodlands
she
in the
brought me
house.
here tonight. And we're super excited to see you.
I knew that you were coming too, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'd forgotten.
But that's the most important part. My daughter lives in Paris. She's in the 11th, and she's a avid reader, book club.
Jillian.
Jillian, yeah.
Very
she's
cool.
she's not written anything.
Right,
yet,
right.
But man, she loves to read. So I'm excited to give her this book.
Oh,
She's gonna
please do.
She's going to be in the U.S. next week.
Excellent.
and-
Nice.
Yeah. Thank
And I'll
you.
tell her I'm doing something. I don't know if she's part of it, but there's an American Women's Club.
Oh,
I'm doing a talk for them in October, I think.
okay. She does belong to the American Library
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Paris? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
That's right.
American
Women's Club.
I will tell.
Yeah.
Because she's, actually, I couldn't write a word in my life, and this girl is
They're
amazing.
Wonderful. All right, one more. Yes. You.
My name is Dinah.
Hi.
I recently saw you on the Financial Diet podcast.
Oh,
So when I saw you in La Jolla, I was like, oh my gosh.
that's wonderful.
My question for you, since you have connections to Hollywood, would you ever think about writing for TV or adapting?
I'm hoping to have a more active role in adapting this piece, and I am also trying to create a couple of other television things. So we'll see. I've always written. The beauty for me of writing fiction was that I could do it by myself, and I didn't need to be part of a team, or I didn't need approval. I could just kind of create it, and it was my kind of escapism. It was my way of escaping, creating art without needing someone else's permission. Because acting, you're always waiting for permission, like you've auditions and whatever, and everything's like an ensemble. And I liked writing fiction because it was a solitary endeavor, as opposed to usually working on a TV show as a group thing. But I've never worked on a TV show. I've never written for a TV show, but I'm open to it. But But I'm also so happy in Paris. I don't want to. I don't know about. Maybe if they've got like a Zoom room and I can just kind of like, zoom in with my croissant and my cigarettes. Hello guys, what are you writing today?
Wait, do you smoke?
No.
Of course not. Thank you so much, Robinne Lee.
Thank
This has been
you.
wonderful. Passion to me, everyone. If you don't have it already, get it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Warwicks.
Guys. Thank you.